What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of the Locksmith Lounge with Louie. Today we're going to have a really special guest by the name of Eric Lambert. He is a 15-plus year veteran automotive locksmith out of Clarksville, Tennessee. He's the owner and operator of the Locksmith Company. He's been doing this for many years. He's opened more than one business and been successful more than one time, as well as dealt with lots and lots of trials and tribulations and learned how to rebuild and create a business. He's going to give us a great idea of how to start up a locksmith company, as well as what costs it takes to be professional and successful. Let's check it out today together, guys. Come on with me to the Locksmith Lounge. Let's do it. Eric, how you doing today, man?
Doing good, or as good as I can be.
Great, man. Well, I'm really glad you could be here. I got recommended you by Steven, our really great sales associate, to check you out and have a great conversation with you. And I'm glad you could come through and come through so quickly with readiness. Really, I really appreciate it. So,
thanks for having me on. I enjoy dealing with Steven. He's a great man there at y'all's business too.
Yeah, he's a really great asset, to be honest. So, great locksmith, great guy to know. So what I'm going to go ahead and I guess get started with here, I guess if you want to just go ahead and start with how you got into locksmithing, like what was your actual entry into the business?
Yeah, my entry into the business, I've got a degree in Homeland Security that I did absolutely nothing with and was going through jobs trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and started with a man named Kim Dowden with One Call Lock and Key down in Austin, more well known now for owning Intelligent Key Solutions.
Okay.
But he called me up and said, I'm opening up a locksmith business, and how do you like making money? And I need help. And we started from there, got One Call Lock and Key down there up around $2 million in revenue a year on that company alone with 5 trucks on the road. And then down there, I ended up getting rear-ended with my wife while she was 6 months pregnant, and that messed up my back, and I had a spinal cord stimulator put in and moved up to the Nashville area because I'd heard more horror stories and good things about back surgeries in case I needed help raising my daughter, and that all worked out, and finally got back in function and decided to open up another locksmith company because I needed to make money for my family, and I knew the locksmith industry, and started the locksmith company out of my garage with the aim at first of just hiring one person so I could possibly take a vacation every now and then. But
Gotcha.
Like a lot of locksmiths, we take things personally when somebody calls in and goes, I've called everybody and nobody can come out and take care of me.
Yeah.
And that just organically grew the company. And now that before this wreck happened, we were up to 5 trucks, 3 storefronts, and just getting moving.
And how long had you had this business going for, the locksmith company?
Locksmith company's been going since 2016, so that's almost 8 years now.
That's really great, man. So, 5 trucks within 8 years, a really thriving business. That's really good to know. And the business before that was going pretty well before the accident. Like you were pretty successful as well.
Yeah, we were on track to actually. Had just moved into a 7,000 square foot facility. Was working on getting all my training guidelines laid out. Actually had sleeping rooms for those that were going to be coming in from out of area to train during the week and go home on the weekends for their 2 months of in-servicing. So that way, once they got back up there flying solo, they had a good ground level of where to start. But obviously, we've had to downsize a little bit since the wreck.
Right. But that's a really cool program that you had going. I've actually never heard of anything like that before, so that's really cool to know that you have thoughts on how to do that kind of thing. So I want to talk to you more about that because that's pretty cool. But for now, I guess let's go ahead and move into, I guess since you got into Tennessee, things started going, you've been spreading your business about. I guess I could ask you what's been the biggest business gamble you've made so far, and how did it pay off?
Biggest business gamble that anybody's going to face, especially getting into automotive locksmithing, is inventory. That our company has hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of inventory under its belt, and my general rule of thumb with starting out, if you're starting out from nothing to build it, is price your job to where you can afford to buy 2 keys on the job you're doing and still bring home $40 or $50. You're still making a profit. And the next time somebody calls, you've already got it on hand, so you can go, yes, I have it in stock and I can get it done. Whereas your competition in town goes, yeah, we need to order it. You need to put down a deposit and do this. And yeah, it's no fun having that much inventory. But when you can pick up the phone every time and go, yep, we've got it in stock when you want it done, that's what's going to help you grow faster than your competition ever thought they could, because they just don't want to invest in it.
Right. So you're thinking like gain your stock as you make your orders, place like a double order for things as you go, just to make sure you build your stock as you start making work?
Exactly, and then to have at least one or two on hand, because Murphy's he's a vicious SOB, and if you have one, in my inventory room is a sign that literally says one is none, two is one. If you only got one key, expect something to go sideways and it not be happy with that key. If you got two, you're going to be good.
Yeah, I mean, I know the rule generally when you're ordering, like for products to come in, it's 10% more than you need technically, because stuff is always going to be lost in some part of the translation from getting it here to there. So it's good advice, really good advice for new locksmiths. Any other really great thoughts that you have, like something you wanted to hear probably or could have heard earlier in your career that would have helped you a lot?
Good Lord, man. It's if anybody getting into business for the first time, a lot of people like to say that growing a business is an uphill battle. No. Growing a business is climbing down Mount Everest. You come up to a ledge and you hop off that ledge and hope there's one close enough that you don't break your legs or die. That's what happens when you take your next step in business, is you're just hoping there's a ledge to land on safely. It's a lot of there's no guarantees, and all you can do is take that step.
Right. But within itself, the whole risk of doing business, you have to take the risk and then hope it pays off and then recover from it, pivot, etc. I mean, how many times have you had to really pivot outside of that major first accident causing you to make a second version of your own already thriving business in another state, which is amazing, by the way. Any other pivots you've ever had to do, businesses you've started randomly to try out?
It's especially when you move into multiple trucks, you've got to have the mindset of you have to go backwards to go forwards. You're going to, when you first put a new truck on the road, you're going to not see the revenue increase, but you're going to see your profit output diminish, because this person, unless you just get lucky and you've got somebody that has years of experience, needs no training, and enjoys making money and gets out there and beats the bushes and makes you money, with a new employee from scratch, you're going backwards for the first 6 months until they finally go, okay, they've got their feet under them and they are bringing in revenue into the company that is positive revenue.
So, let me hit you there on that idea of like gaining locksmiths, or just for anybody who is working from being at ground zero, basic knowledge of what they're doing, trying to become a locksmith. How would one find somebody like you and or gain the knowledge in any way besides finding a very educated person like yourself to teach them every single aspect and get them up training and put the effort in and the investment into their career going forward?
I mean, a lot of it, places such as UHS, y'all got y'all's classes that y'all offer, and a lot of other institutions offer classes on locksmithing and automotive locksmithing. A lot of people are afraid to take the basic courses. I can't stress enough how important the basics are. Don't put your pride aside. Take the basic courses, and you're probably going to learn something that you never knew. I've got guys in my town that still cannot pick a GM sidebar ignition on, and they're buying key codes. My guys can get in and out of a, let's call a 2002 Chevy Silverado. They can get on site, write up an invoice, have a key made in under 10 minutes.
That's a 10-cut ignition, right?
Yeah, 10-cut ignition, and they don't need a key code at all. They're just pick it on, pull it out, cut your key, go to town, write up your invoice, gone.
All right, I'm going to tag a really great kit for that right here in the video in case you guys want to check it out.
Fantastic kit y'all got. I'm glad y'all brought that thing back.
Yeah, it was dead for a little bit, but we found a way to revive it, so it's great to have it back. So that's really great. It's okay. What I love about this whole thing, about the whole journey of the locksmith and the work and stuff, is just the overall detail and general amount of knowledge needed to get the work done, and the amount that you have to learn. How do you keep yourself ahead of the trends, learning, and also how do you keep your employees learning and up to date on all the new facets of the industry?
The same thing. I mean, you have to continue to go to classes, take it from somebody, even if you don't enjoy the person themselves. If it's a good class, there's more knowledge to gain. It's an ever-changing industry. It's kind of why I love automotive locksmithing. I'm kind of like being abused, because that's what it is. When you're the first one out there doing it and nobody else is doing 24s yet, you're gonna run into problems and there's nobody to call. You're just going off of your experience and going, okay, I know this should be the step 1, step 2, and step 3, but there's no safety net there.
Not at all. The GMs right now are really a big problem for everybody, to be quite honest. So, I mean, how are you working through that personally? Like, you found your own way of working it out, or like, I mean, I know, don't share the specifics. Nobody wants to know those things.
I'm happy to share the specifics. It's dealer diagnostic software. Problem solved. Get NASDF, use SPS, and do them all day. We do pass on the subscription charge to the customer for using SPS because you cannot buy, unlike Toyota, where we do own my company has an annual Toyota subscription, so we can do as many code calculations as we need to.
All right.
SPS, you cannot buy an annual subscription for the immobilizer programming side from, according to everybody that I've talked to, including GM Techline, which boggles my mind. So we have to pay for a subscription by VIN for each vehicle that we touch. But like I said, we pass that on to the customer. Now that GM has come out with this ungodly 2-hour wait, yes, that's a real thing.
Right.
I've done 4 of those vehicles where we've had to sit on the car for 2 hours to gain security access.
That's really crazy.
Unfortunately, pass that on to the customer because the dealership doesn't get to bypass it either. So the dealerships are charging at a minimum $125 an hour to sit on that car.
Ooh, that's really steep. All right. Well, I guess that the locksmith charge should then be, pretty realistic at that point to be close to 200 or so per key. I mean, what are you charging right now for the 2024 GMs?
If it's a 2024 GMC from scratch, they're looking at, if it doesn't have the 2-hour wait, they're looking at $425. If it does have the 2-hour wait, they're looking at $600.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds realistic. It's a lot of work. You got to be specialized and have all these extra equipment and extra prices for every single thing you're doing. If you could give any advice to all the locksmiths out there right now scratching their head on what to do or how to get this work done or how to be prepared for all the upcoming changes and meddlings of things within this process, what would you say?
Companies such as UHS and others that are out there, y'all are good about putting out information and updates. We've got a big show the end of this month and it's not even a locksmith show. It is automotive industry related, but it's for repair facilities called Vision. Okay. That I'll be going to, and we've had calls with NASTF about this protocol that's coming out that Autel's going to launch for sure. All the X-Tool products, the Auto Pro pads, G2 Turbos, old apps, and Smart Pro will be launching it. No ifs, ands, or buts. One morning you're going to wake up and your machine's going to go, I need vehicle security professional credentials and an Authy code. Otherwise, you can't use me.
Okay. And
would you say it's like a...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I want to hear what you're going to say. X-Tool said?
X-Tool, I have confirmed, has said that their authorization is going to be every 24 hours, that it requires you to put in vehicle security credentials, and it needs to talk to the server and authenticate that your NASDF credentials are not locked to be able to use the tool again.
What's the standard fee annually, I guess, for NASTF to be a member of it?
Don't hold me to this. My brain says it's a renewal every 3 years, and it's about $300.
Okay.
The initial setup, I think, is around $700, and I'd be lying. Again, don't hold my feet to the fire on it.
Right.
It's all the boxes that you have to check with it. You cannot have any criminal background, period. End of story. You will not get NASDF credentialing. You do have to have $1 million liability policy with NASDF listed as a, what do they call it? Additionally insured, I believe now. So just a couple of steps. It's not unruly to get, but those that are unaware of this is going to affect, again, we're talking Autel, who's the biggest manufacturer of tools in the country, and when this happens, any one of their tools that is capable of doing immobilizer programming is going to have this protocol activated overnight. And that's not just automotive locksmiths. That's every automotive repair facility that has their tool, every body shop that has their tool. So there's going to be a rush for everybody to get NASDF credentials in one day, and NASDF, I guarantee you, is not ready for hundreds of thousands of people to apply at once.
I guess my question regarding that would be, is that even truly a possibility? Is it possible for every locksmith in this country to be on NASTF as quickly as this will probably roll out? Technically.
At this time, yes. At this time, NASDF's cruising on along, and generally you've got your VSP credentials within about 2 weeks.
Okay, that's good to know.
Once what I call the hammer of God drops, and you got hundreds of thousands of body shops and repair facilities overnight clamoring for it, they're going to be backlogged for a year or two. And those that are listening to this podcast and staying ahead of the curve are going to laugh all the way to the bank. And according to NASTF, it's a voluntary thing for the tool manufacturers to opt in on. So we're not saying I'm not saying NASTF's not saying that there's not going to be workarounds for it, and there's going to be tool companies that are not going to opt in on it at all. I've asked several times, what are going to be the repercussions for anybody that doesn't follow it. As of right now, NASIFF answer is none. But when you've got your big three in the industry, Autel, Smart Pro, or Advanced Diagnostics, and X-Tool with all the Auto ProPad stuff, when those three launch it, that's going to put a big hurt on the industry.
Yeah, I mean, I can see the change really affecting a lot of people pretty quickly. So it's good to be prepared and to get the information out early. I guess as a proponent and user of NASIFF, what would you say would be beyond just, the overall verification of the fact that you're a trustworthy individual from a federal level? What would you say would be the other benefits of making sure that locksmiths get on there and are already set up for NASTF probably standardly?
I mean, just the way that the automotive locksmith industry morphs. Anybody that does and specializes in automotive locksmithing, guarantee you've gotten a call from an auto repair facility or a body shop that says, hey, I've got this car and it's a key issue. And you go out there and the transponder's fine, the security light's doing what it's supposed to, the car's responding like it's supposed to, and you run a scan and you go up. You got no communication with the body control module, or you got no communication with the ECM, and something needs to be replaced. And they don't have the ability to do it. And neither does the Autel tools or somebody else's aftermarket tool, so you need dealer diagnostic software to do it. And if you've got your NASIFF credentials, and you just tell them, hey, go ahead and order the part in, and I can program it in for you. You don't have to tow it down to Ford, Chevy, whoever. Get it all knocked out on the spot. So, yeah, you get more revenue streams from having it and knowing how to use it and do other things other than automotive locksmithing. That, again, you got called out and you're charging them a service call anyway. Might as well keep on going down the line and get the whole vehicle up and running.
I got you. All right, so it's almost like just another part of your equipment that you should have, or another badge that says that you're a trustworthy individual, a person that should be seen. Is there any kind of communication to the customers that you're a NASTF certified person before you actually get there, or when you're there? Does that give any kind of understanding to the general public as to any specificity about you yourself?
Hopefully, with the new social media campaigns and things that we're trying to get NASDF to launch, it'll be a thing. As of right now, the general public has no clue what it means, what it stands for. But if we can get NASDF to launch a campaign for the safety side of the general public, to be able to go, okay, make sure that the person working on your vehicle is NASDF certified, because that means that they have gone through a federal vetting process, and your car, I can't say won't, because there's still things happen, people do nefarious things. True. Your car shouldn't disappear the next day because the person that you called out decided to make two keys to it, gave you one, and then sold one to the local gang in the area to come and steal your Dodge Challenger later tonight.
That's
a real thing
to think about.
And it happens.
Oof. Well, that would suck. Yeah, well, this is also clearly why locksmiths should be always verified and not be purchasing tools without knowledge or understanding of what they're getting into. Only certified people should be doing this. It's hard to do that as it's not nationally an actual thing being done. Like, every state doesn't offer that. So it's not something that can be really policed. And I think that that's overall where this whole issue comes in. I have a question for you, though, just as a person who has made one company, had to be successful, then had to recover after a huge issue to make another company that has now been successful, to then once again turn into a huge issue that did not crash and destroy your company. Each time you've done this, did you, I mean, I guess the curiosity would be, when it comes to making a business, the capital that goes into it, clearly something that you have and you're working with. How it's hard to understand how everything comes together so well, and that you could actually get it all to go to actually be successful. Like, it's so hard to launch anything, let alone to be successful more than once. How could you, as an uneducated person without any previous teaching to be a locksmith, start a business and have all the credentials and be completely too bored and have NASTF, etc., and be able to afford the updates and go to classes? How does one do that? That's my question, I think.
So if we're talking about realistically what you need to start up, the profit margins are in this industry. You need to find $2,000-$3,000 to invest in classes to go to before you start even buying tools. Once you're ready to buy tools, you need to have, I'll lowball it on the low end, you need to have either $15,000 worth of credit or $15,000 in your pocket to get enough tools and equipment to get up and running. And that doesn't include the van expense,
right?
If you're going to go mobile, but you can go mobile out of your current vehicle. I ran out of an 05 Chevy Tahoe when I started. I took my rear seat out and I built a bench in the back, and I did everything out of there with the laser key machine. I had an Extreme back there at the time, and that was my workbench. I got things done. You can do it on a budget, but realistically, if you have, I love this industry because if you have the will and the drive to go out there and shake the bushes and pound the pavement, there is work to be had. This is an almost recession-proof industry because when times are bad, the repo companies and the banks are calling us. When times are good, people are buying new cars left and right, and spare keys need to be made, and they want them with them when they buy the cars. But it's it comes down to work ethic, really. Anybody can be successful in this industry as long as you have the work ethic and drive. Don't sell yourself short. That's the other thing. A lot of locksmiths are racing to the bottom. I'm not the cheapest guy in town. When I go into car lots, my business model is centered around car lots. When I walk into a car lot, I wholeheartedly tell them, I'm nowhere near as cheap as Car Keys Express. But guess what? You call me, I pick up the phone, and I can come out here on not one regular route day. If your family member's stuck at 3 o'clock at night, I've got your personal cell phone saved. Yeah, I don't like running for the general public that time of night, but if you're calling me from your personal cell phone, I know there's something up, and I'm going to make sure you're taken care of.
Gotcha. All right, so that's good. I mean, good to offer all the benefits of having someone who's really working for their benefit, to be quite honest. So I guess all that being said, once again, great stuff. I really do enjoy this conversation so far. I guess we're going to take a break real quick. I'm going to ask you a couple random questions, do a little quick game with you real quick. It's going to be like a little game of Would You Rather. And then if you wouldn't mind, I mean, we could just sit and discuss, I guess, how the accident occurred and everything. Do you want to talk about that at all? Or? Okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd love to. And there's a lot that came of the accident that I'd been, as the company owner, for years been telling myself that I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that, and the good Lord, unfortunately, in this method, forced me to sit back and look at those things and go, oh, I really can do this, and the company's not going to die.
That's good. Okay, let's hit that. Let's get to that because that's a really great topic. But after we discuss this real quick game we're going to start right now called Would You Rather. This is going to be our first one we're doing, starting with you, Eric. We're going to try it out right now. And I guess my first question here is going to be for you. Would you rather, I think you answered this already, so we're going to see what you say. Would you rather be a residential, commercial, or automotive locksmith right now? Like only one or the other. Which one would you prefer?
Automotive.
Okay. And any specific reason between the two?
I mean, as much as I love commercial and residential too, automotive is in my heart. I've always loved doing car audio stuff. I love ripping cars apart. The residential stuff kind of turns me off because you never know what you're showing up to, and customers don't send photos and things. At least with the automotive, from all of my experience, my guy called about a 07, I think 07 Jeep Grand Cherokee the other day, and I told him, as soon as he told me he had this call that was an hour drive, I said, you better get pictures of that ignition, because there's only two types of Grand Cherokee owners. One's that it's the 17th time that this car's been sold, and one that's had it from the very beginning and babysat it, and it's brand spanking new condition. And he got photos. It was the 17th owner one, and he was glad that I had mentioned that. And he was like, yep, now they get to prepay online before I go out there.
Yeah, that's good. This is why experience is really important. Also why it's good to have like a mentor, somebody who's been doing this a long time in your back pocket. So that's cool. I guess, okay, next question is going to be, if you had to restart your whole life and career, replace your business, would you prefer to do it all in LA or New York?
Neither. Nope.
Come on, choose. You gotta choose. Come on.
Are we talking New York State? Because you just said LA.
I'm talking about Los Angeles and New York City.
Do I have to live in them?
I mean, you're moving and you're starting your business all over from scratch, same as you did when you moved to Tennessee.
I'm gonna say LA then because I hate the cold.
Okay.
Y'all can keep that trash.
All right, good. All right, well, that's a good reason. Yeah, I mean, for sure, it's at least the most beautiful state in our country, in my opinion. All of California is amazing. As far as how many people are there and what's going on, can't say specifically.
Yeah, that's a whole nother episode that I can go down on why I do not target metroplexes.
I got you. Okay, next question is going to be, would you rather live in and experience Tennessee 100 years ago or 100 years in the future from now?
I'm going to say future. We've already learned from the past. I have no clue what the future holds. I'd love to see it.
Nice. That's a really great answer. Thank you. Okay, next one. Would you rather have flying cars or jetpacks?
I'm going to say flying cars just so I stay in business. I mean, jetpacks probably have a keyed ignition source too, so you just can't steal some random dude's jetpack. But, you would hope. Cars.
Thinking about business, it's good. Would you rather have more time or more money?
Time.
More time, right. Yep. What would you do with your extra time?
Again, with more time, I do not know. It's just I can accomplish more. Therefore, if I am orienting it to my business, therefore I earn more money in turn. But I mean, if it's more time with my family too, time is the one thing you cannot buy.
Right, and it's almost like you can't have time without money. So back and forth. Good answer again. Would you prefer to drink Tennessee whiskey or moonshine from the Smoky Mountains?
Loaded question there. Are we talking real backwoods? Like I went down to my creek with my copper still and made moonshine? Or are we talking branded Tennessee moonshine out of a liquor store? Because I'll take real homemade White Lightning any day.
Right,
Hi, Jordan.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the... Welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Welcome to the show.
That's really great. I mean, I've never had actual real White Lightning. Is that something to experience?
Oh, it's definitely something to experience, and especially if you get somebody that makes real apple pie moonshine. I mean, just
nice.
One, the proof of it, and two, the flavor. It's you make it to Tennessee, come see me. I've got I've got a couple in my freezer, and they don't freeze, but it's definitely smooth the burnout.
I would love to try that out. I'll hold you to that. All right. Last question I got for you here is, which apocalyptic scenario do you feel that a locksmith would be more beneficial in? And that's an alien invasion or a zombie outbreak.
I'm going to say zombie outbreak because alien invasion, I mean, depending on, obviously they're going to be technologically superior to us. So zombie invasion, we're going to talk mass depopulation from whatever caused the zombie apocalypse, and me having the ability to pick open American padlocks and get past security protocols I'm in Clarksville, Tennessee. I live right next to a military installation. I'll just leave it at that, NSA. Quit listening, NSA. Thank you.
There's a whole lot of thought in this that after I wrote this question, I thought to myself, there's never been that character in any zombie movie who could just open every door, set up new locks, hook everybody up so that they can be secure. Where's that guy at, Yeah. So there's a movie here. We got to make it. All right, cool. Yeah. That's it for the Would You Rather. Great answers. Really enjoyed your thoughts on that. I had fun writing them, so I'm glad you answered them with so much gusto. All right. I guess let's go ahead and move into your recent accident and I guess how it affected you and your business.
Yeah, so this is in the classes that I teach. I don't care what I'm teaching. I'm going to end it or begin it with insurance. If your company is not properly insured, if you do not have $1 million umbrella policy at a minimum, because I was blessed that my wife's a nurse and I had health insurance through her. Just the medical bills from me being at Vanderbilt Hospital was $1.4 million for the 10 days in a coma, 6 emergency surgeries, all the blood transfusions and all the other things that they had to do that kept me alive, and the good Lord kept me here because no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I shouldn't be sitting here talking to y'all today. But he kept me here for a reason, and I'm hoping that it is to educate those, and hopefully, unfortunately, I know somebody's going to go through it. It's not when I train my guys on their driver safety in the company, I tell them it's not a matter of if you get into a wreck, it's when. We spend too much time on the roads, we're statistically more likely to get into an accident, and my wreck was one that I train my guys. Most accidents require 2 people not paying attention for it to happen. Mine was one. There was nothing. He crested a hill, came across 2 lanes, and hit me head on because he was just drunk and wasn't paying any attention. There
That's
wasn't
crazy.
nowhere for me to go.
And this is on a highway or like a regular back road type scenario?
I mean, it's called Highway 12. Where the wreck happened was I was coming up a hill, so it had a hill climb lane for slower traffic, and I'm in a big old Mercedes Sprinter van, and it was 2 o'clock in the morning. I've got no reason to stay in the left lane. I always get into the right side, and he crested that hill, which his side was a single lane, and he came across 2 lanes and hit me head on.
That's absurd. And I mean, I'm really happy that you made it through, man. I saw the pictures of your accident. It's incredible that you got out and are okay now. 10 days in a coma is really crazy. What was your recovery like after coming out of your coma?
Spent another month and a half. I spent another month going from the trauma ICU to step down ICU to regular inpatient. Then from there got transferred to an inpatient rehabilitation facility where we worked on getting my legs moving. Then after a month there, I still was bedbound, still couldn't walk, stand, do anything. Got home, spent another 3 months doing in-home health rehabilitation to the point where I finally got to where I could get myself out of bed into a wheelchair and move around the house. Still couldn't walk or stand much. Then started getting into regular physical therapy, getting my legs working again. We thought we were out of the woods with all that. Things were looking good. I was walking up and down stairs, getting my legs back under me. And then this last December, what we thought I was out of the biggest clear for, I ended up my left femur, about 60% of the bone, it ended up dying, so I ended up having to go back in and have another bone graft. So now I'm having to rebuild that leg again, re-strengthen it, and learn to walk again as of right now.
How much of your femur?
About 60% of it.
So I don't even know how that would work. Wow. So amazing. And, you know, honestly, you're in such high spirits and have such a positive energy about you. Like, I'm quite amazed after having gone through all this that you're able to stay so, you know, up and good. It's actually really enlightening and lovely, to be honest. So,
it's tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything. There's good days and there's bad days. And I lost 8 feet of intestine during this. And there's been a recent day that tested how I feel about that.
Right.
I'll just leave it at that. But I mean,
right.
it's a
lot to go through.
Not
I'm
easy.
sure, man.
Yeah, and I pray nobody goes through it. And had I not had my company, I thought I was well insured, and I'll call it decently now. My insurance is the only reason I still have a company. His insurance was only $50,000 minimum liability. That's all he's paid in.
That's crazy. And even though it was a wrongdoing, and, you know, I'm certain that you probably sued him at this point, there's no more money that is... Anyway, I don't want to get into your details. That's a lot. But what I do want to know is, within this whole thing, honestly, I'm just, like, happy for you, dude, that you made it through this whole thing. I can barely come up with questions right now. This is a lot of stuff that you went through.
I'll give you one. So, before the wreck, for probably 2 years, I'd been kicking around with the explosive growth of my company. Again, in 6 years, we went from 1 truck and me wanting to put 1 other one on the road so I could take vacation to 3 storefronts and 5 trucks on the road and a dispatch center. I didn't expect all that and was just rolling with it. But it got to the point where things were so busy and I was still a working locksmith on top of owning the company that I kept telling myself, there's no way that I can sit behind a desk and steer this company and not just have the company fall flat on its face without me being in the field to help. The good Lord showed me that, yeah, no, you're just as valuable behind the desk as you are in the field. So at some point, if other company owners out there are listening to this, at some point you have to take yourself off the road and go, okay, yeah, I can work 1 or 2 days a week in the field and keep my expertise honed, but you really do need to stop and get behind the wheel of your company and steer it. And that means getting back from behind the wheel of that vehicle that you're running every day and get in the office and make sure that all your back-end stuff is flowing like it should, and writing policy and procedures to make it automated without you there. Because thank God I'd started that path a little bit before this wreck happened. So there were things in place to keep the company running when I was completely incapacitated.
Right. Yeah, because if you hadn't, then you would be here right now twiddling your thumb trying to figure out what to do. And so I guess within this, who who did you fall back on and trust the most to help you to run the business while you were really just incapacitated completely?
Everybody in my company stepped up. I can't name one particular, but everybody that, especially when it happened, but that's where a good vetting process.
Right.
Instead of just hiring any random person off the street that doesn't care about it. Yeah. Making sure that your employees are as invested in the company as you, paying them well enough to where they go, oh, I really do enjoy working here and I don't want to see it fail, because that's what happened was that all my employees enjoy working here. I pay them appropriately, and they stepped up to bat and didn't even question it.
Well, that's lovely. That's good, man. I mean, really, kudos to you for all this really working out well and you finding great people to have your back and to take care of your business. It's all really great news, in my opinion, outside of the actual issue itself. How long do you think until you might be, fully recovered to, like right now, are you able to, do much like you used to, or are you kind of still like...
No, I'm not even. I still am homebound. I get a little bit of break from it with going out to teach classes and go to shows and things like that. So, I mean,
well, that's good.
I can list the myriad of injuries, but right now I'm up to 93 plates, screws, and nails in my body just to put me back together. So I'm not done healing. I'm nowhere near to a point where I can get in and out of a van more than 2 or 3 times a day before my body hurts so bad that it's just shut down. So yeah, I don't know when or if that ever will be, but like I said, being able to sit here and steer the company has gotten us not back to where we were before the wreck, but the profit margins are better. So,
and are there any specific new thoughts or ideas or ways that you're running your business now that you would have liked to have been doing before, now that you've been doing them from the backseat or from the in-house aspect?
I mean, getting my policy and procedures lined out better to where it is more automated, getting my inventory side lined out to where everything, I know what's on every van in my fleet. So that's the biggest thing. If you don't have an inventory management system that does multiple locations, you need to get it. Yeah, I've started, I mean, I do a little bit of renewing and things like that, and the back-end website for our company that I use that has, my guys can do a year, make, model search, and it pulls up the keys that are required for that vehicle. I've been able to update that website to where now it's got vehicle-specific notes, confirmed programmers, the leashes, the code series, part numbers.
To make everything as easily and streamlined as possible for everybody who's working with you.
Yeah, and even for me, because now I've got the multiple distributors. I've got 6 distributors listed in there that I list their costs on each item, so I can go through my list and go, okay, well, I know that this is the next most cost effective in my chain if this one's out, and I can see it right there at a glance.
When it comes to the people that you have hired or the people in your vetting process in general, what qualities do you look for outside of people who are, out there being bushes that are hard to the nose and taking care of stuff? Like, what are the specific, I guess, innate traits that you're looking for when it comes to a good employee?
So what I look for is somebody that either A, likes solving puzzles, or B, has a little bit of automotive background experience, because that's, again, we specialize in automotive programming. So if you've already got an automotive background, that's a huge win. And then the biggest thing that I use that chases a lot of the ones that are tire kickers and just think they want to do this and as a hobby or don't really know what they want to do, I tell them this is a career. This isn't just something you're going to learn to do and a couple of years later you can decide to go do something else, but that's not what I'm looking for. So I have a 2-year employment contract that all of my new hires sign, and it's
Smart
a 2-year
idea.
Education contract. It's just like a sign-on bonus contract that is enforceable by law. So it's written to where if you leave the company within the first 2 years, then you pay back $10,000 in education expenses. The last 6 months of that contract, it begins to go down by $1,000 every month, and then the last month of the contract, the final $2,000 drops off, and then after that, you want to go do your own thing, go do your own thing. But hopefully I've built a company well enough that has enough incentive that you don't want to go anywhere else. I mean,
right.
I'm like,
I mean, at that point, they've committed a lot of time and effort and knowledge to get there. 2 years is a lot of time to be learning every single day and picking things up to just decide to leave afterwards. I would see that being a really good incentive to stay, to be quite honest, you know?
Yeah, and I've got employees that average in the upper 5 figures, and I've got employees that make over 6 figures a year.
That's great. That's fantastic.
And
that's
just
really good,
doing
man.
automotive, and that's it.
It's incredibly impressive. And this is all in the Tennessee area. What were the locations again you said that you guys cover?
We cover Nashville all the way up through Paducah, Kentucky, and but our Nashville location is just a virtual storefront to get a Google beacon. Clarksville has a physical location, and Paducah has a physical location. But yeah, that's
okay. Well, that's good, man. All right. I guess, you know, this has been a really, really amazing conversation. I really do appreciate you being open and explaining and expressing all these details about your situation, what you went through, what you're dealing with now. Really, it's been one of the more in-depth face-to-face conversations I've had so far, and I really have enjoyed having it so far. I guess the next thing I'd want to say to you is, do you have anything you want to push or any kind of upcoming events that you want to discuss that locksmiths should know about or that you want to tell them about?
I mean, there's classes coming up everywhere. Again, the vision, staying on top of NASDF, if they're doing a good job of being transparent with everything. So if you haven't gone to NASTF.org, get on there, get registered. You don't have to do the full SDRM credentialing if you don't want to right now, but I highly recommend you get your NASDF. You get signed up on NASTF.org so you can at least get the emails on the updates of what's coming out and when. Other than that is UHS, y'all do a great job with the virtual classes that keep the costs down. Key Innovations, American Key Supply have in-person classes. Does UHS do in-person classes?
We have some in-person classes. We actually have a in-person hand-to-hand, like 5-day course you can take with a locksmith that we have here. And we also do have some in-person classes. I think we backed off this year. We're doing a lot of them at the what's it called, the Locksmith Expo, which is going to be happening in Milwaukee in May, I'm pretty certain. Okay. We're going to have a lot of in-person classes at that. So like 4 days worth of classes. So are you going to be going to that yourself? Do you know?
Should be. That's what my brain says right now without looking at my calendar. The only other one that I say is a good up-and-comer is the Texas Locksmith Association. Their event they've been putting on every year. They've been doing a good job, and they've included personal safety courses. But they actually take you out to a gun range and teach you firearm safety and accuracy. Cool. That was a cool course that they added in that I highly recommend, because unfortunately, I'm an advocate of daily carry. That there's nobody that can protect you but you.
It's an American right. You know, we're all here living our lives. You know, if you want to have one. That's America. You know, what can you do? But you know, do you, dude? Don't worry about.
That's a whole other topic that we can go down that everybody's got a side of.
Yeah, it's too easy to get separated on things. I mean, at the end of the day, I think what's important is that we're all busting our asses and trying our best to bring home money, put food on our tables, take care of our families, and that's what this whole thing's about. You know, like, and I once again do appreciate your thoughts, talks, and information, to be quite honest. Last thing I want to hit on here is I actually have a last segment here. It's called Keys to Success, where I just want to hear, I guess, like a quick phrase or motto, something that you say or think often that you would like to pass along as like positive advice or just life advice for other people.
Look for the good in everything. That would be it. Even in the bad times, like what I went through with the wreck, that I could sit here and harp on poor pitiful me the whole time, my body's destroyed and wish I wouldn't be alive and things like. No, I can look at the bright side of this. One, I'm alive. Two, it took the Lord throwing an F-150 at me to go get out from behind that wheel and get behind the wheel of your actual company and steer that. But just look. There's always good. There's a reason for everything that happens. We don't know it at the time. We'll figure it out later on. But that everything does happen for a reason. You just have to stop and breathe and not freak out. And I'm the biggest person that freaks out real quick. So that's a lot coming from me, because I will jump the gun and freak out and go, okay, good Lord, why are you doing this again? I'm so tired. You've done enough. Give me a break.
I got you. I mean, well, that's really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I mean, it is a really important skill to be able to deal with whatever comes your way, to find your next niche, to be able to look for the opportunities that lie in front of you. So it's a great mindset and a great thing to pass along. We really appreciate you again for being on the show. This has been really, really good. This has been a great talk, man. I really do appreciate you. Anything else you want to drop before you head out here?
That's all I've got. I mean, again, it's just if you, I guess my last nugget of truth is those that listen to this, go talk to your insurance agent, even just about the tools in your van. And if they say that you're covered and they won't put it in writing, that tells you that you're not. It's that simple. And I guarantee you they'll come back and go, oh, yeah, you're right. We need to do this. And it's something that simple. Just your tools in your van can put so many of us out of business if you got broken into, if you're not covered appropriately, that it's not even funny.
I mean, that's a lot of cost in one spot, you know? So
yeah, and that's
very good.
That, again, thank God I was covered like that, because my insurance company didn't fight at all. Had it all lined out, and unfortunately, from other accidents that I had to learn that rule and didn't have anybody to teach me this. So yeah, reach out either through Louie, through catch me at a show, and pick my brain on that matter. I don't want to see someone lose their business over an extra $20 a month they should have spent in insurance.
Right. There's going to be actually some really good classes as well at the Locksmith Expo that we're going to be having for like business discussions, marketing aspects as well of the overall business. So it's like a little bit more mixture than just your standard like how to do the job itself. So I think that things like that should be really more often had at these events, and I think it's going to be really beneficial to locksmiths to be able to get that backside education and understanding without having to go somewhere else. So once again, thank you. You're great, man.
Yeah,
it's been a great talk. Thank you. We'll catch you later.
Yep. Have a good one.
What a fantastic episode that was, guys. I hope you enjoyed every second of it. Let us know your thoughts on everything that Eric had to say. Let us know you have any thoughts on the current state of the business or what's going on with NASTF. We want to hear from you guys. Drop it down below in the comments. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel. Make sure you subscribe to our feed for the Locksmith Lounge with Louie. Also, go ahead and check out everything we have going on at uhs-harbor.com. Make sure you're a member of Preferred Plus as soon as possible so you can get all those really great deals going on. And check us out again next time here on the Locksmith Lounge with Louie. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.